Hello, we're here today with Tibor Shanto. Tibor is a sales coach, but more on the professional development side of the business. So, Tibor, help us understand what you do and how you do it.
Sure. So, as you said, I do professional development for professional salespeople. I work exclusively with B2B companies, so I don't have much to contribute to the consumer or retail side.
Okay.
But my customers are B2B companies, primarily with a focus on new revenue. And I know that that sounds like it's everybody, but specifically, the companies that I've had success with are in industries that, as a whole, are not growing as much as the appetite of the company itself for growth. So, as an example, Bell Mobility has been a client on and off through the years. Their market as a whole is not growing, so likely the business that they're going to win is going to be at the expense of TELUS or Rogers.
Right.
Similarly, in other industries where, again, high competition, not a lot of growth in the market. So how do you win that business without resorting to discounting? So it's not just winning the business for winning sake, but you want to maintain margins and grow margins. So how do you win business from a competitor without resorting to price? In other instances, the companies I work with are looking for either brand new logos, which is fairly straightforward, or they might have added lines of business and they're looking to expand in their account. So their account may only know them for industrial goods, but they may have added health and safety to their capabilities. So now that salesperson has to go and have an entirely new conversation with a new set of people. So it's a brand new experience for them. And then we help them also, how do they take that initial success that they've had in prospecting, convert it into a proper discovery cycle so they can take the customer through efficiently. And then clearly, once we win as a customer, we want to continue to grow and upsell the account. So those are the areas that I'm most effective in. I would say if you're looking for somebody to do, for instance, account management or customer support, I'm not your guy.
Yep. So, you're talking about selling with more skill and the more intellectual approach rather than the discounting, quick solution approach.
Yeah, I think it's not that the discounting is not intellectual, but I guess it's a lazy shortcut. But yeah, so I tend to look at. I think when I speak to companies and I talk to them after the fact, 6 months, a year later, they tell me that probably the value I brought was able to help them translate their strategy into some sort of tactical plan that actually results in that strategy being realized. So where most sales organizations have room to improve is in the execution. And the tagline for my company is execution, everything else is just talk. So there's a lot of talk in sales, but there's very little execution. So I tend to focus on that. Now, if a company is looking to round out their strategy or they're looking to introduce a brand new sales process, they may not have one, then I get involved in that as well. Recently, I just finished writing a playbook for an ERP company. So again, it's all elements that are involved in helping you win new business.
Excellent. So your ideal clients then are they're not solopreneurs, but would be more in this small, medium-sized business and corporate.
Yeah, my perfect ideal client would be a regional, sort of business. But that's not to say, again, I've played with Bell Mobility. I've had a long relationship
Yep.
with Business Development Bank, Imperial Oil. So, I'm quite effective in that area as well. When you're asking me what my favorite is, with COVID as a background and a lack of willingness to travel, I'll take a local, regional, medium-sized company any day.
Yeah. Now you mentioned COVID. What is your number one piece of advice for people working in isolation now? Can you still sell working from isolation?
Yes, you can. I mean, the reality is that some industries have been taken offline. So there's no, we're not going to sit here and pretend, right?
Mhm.
But with other industries, I've been doing a series of COVID videos since this whole thing started back in March on a day-to-day basis. And the thing I keep pointing out is that all that's changed is the base of operation. Businesses are continuing, I have a friend who works at a bank. She's working at home. Everything is going on. I have a friend who works at a pharmaceutical. Everything is going on. If you're unfortunately in one of those jobs like a waitress or something like that, who are truly being impacted by this, because I think a lot of us white collar workers are just singing the blues because we have nothing else to do. There are people out there who are way worse than us. The fact that I have to work in the same house as somebody else, that should be the worst thing that happens to anybody as a result of COVID. Imagine if you're a single mother with two kids and you were a waitress. So
Yeah.
um, I don't think our sorrows are that big as salespeople. So yes, you can sell. You have to be a bit more intelligent in terms of how you use voicemail, email. You have to certainly be a bit more attuned from an emotional point of view. Some of the people we're dealing with are struggling with some realities as a result of this, whether it's economic or whether it's loved ones who are being impacted. So, but that does not mean we can't sell. It means we have to sell differently. And I think if you're a good salesperson, that challenge of doing it differently should be enticing enough.
So, how would our audience find you?
Under most rocks, no. So the easiest place is to go to my website, which is my name, so tiborshanto.com. If
Okay.
you truly can't wait, you can always pick up the phone and dial 416-822-7781. But I'll add one more thing, if I can, to your question about, the COVID thing. I think the one thing that the salespeople I've been working with, the first couple of weeks they may have struggled because of the change in environment. But I think once I got them to refocus on the fact that the structure of the sale hasn't changed, the flow of what has to unfold in the sales cycle hasn't changed. So it's a question of how do we help ourselves achieve those things day to day without the support of the building, the manager, and everything else that comes with a sales organization. So I think the easiest thing people can do is actually map out what their ideal day would be at the office and then replicate that at home, including leaving the space that you're working in and going to another room for lunch and picking up the phone and calling a friend as you did. And yes, you can occasionally check Facebook because that's what you would do at work, but do all the other things you would do at work as well.
Yeah. Well, and as we discussed, I mean, we were half working from home most of the time. Now we've got, well, today we got four people working from home in the same building, and fortunately we're all in different corners of the house. And Iris and I have two different studios set up because we're both doing videos today. But it's being adaptability. It's pivoting and making things work.
I think the more you open yourself to being adaptive, the more value you're going to have for your clients because you can share with them some of the things that you're doing and then they take confidence in trying some of the things that you're suggesting. And the next thing you know, you have momentum.
Yeah. Tibor, I want to thank you for your time. Please stay safe. Keep up the good work. I know there's people out there who have been struggling, professionals who've been struggling, and now's a really good time for them to up their game and, you know, be in contact with somebody like you, improve their skills, the necessity of improving their skills, building relationships online instead of in person. You know, we're not playing golf to schmooze clients at this point in time.
Yeah, and Wayne, I want to thank you. I think this is a great thing because I think, Canadians need to be aware of who some of the resources that they have. So you stay safe as well. And, we'll do this again sometime outside of COVID.
And we didn't mention the fact that you have a podcast as well.
I do. I have a podcast called Sales Scrum, and currently it's on every Monday because we had a number of good interviews dealing with how salespeople and marketing people can deal with elements of COVID. Once we run out of these and we go back to a regular cadence of every other week. But again, you can find it on your favorite podcast outlet, be that iTunes or Google or whatever the case might be. And tell me if you like it, but more importantly, tell me if you don't like it because that we can change.
Excellent. Stay safe. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Wayne.